Hello, my sweet little poopsykins. A few of you have probably been wondering where I've been. Well, darlings, sometimes you turn 30 and then break up with your girlfriend of 2.5 years whom you live with while working extra hours at your day job, have to throw your own 30th birthday party while simultaneously looking for a new place to move to and supporting your pal in court and subsequently moving into a new place. And sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do. Anyways, babes, I'm back for good now, so don't mind if I get caught up since we totally hit 50k subs while I was away, and oh my god, I'm gonna go grab my pillow and scream into it now. That's better. Anyways, thanks for watching and subbing. On with the show. What is your funniest critical failure moment in Dungeons & Dragons? Part 1. So in college, I played a mage in advanced D&D named Mycroft, who was both the luckiest and unluckiest spell slinger I've ever seen. As a result of some wild student days where he'd experimented with things he probably shouldn't have, and an exceptionally powerful item known as the Dimension Lord's Dagger, he was kinda immune to death. Whenever he died, which happened a lot, as the GM rarely missed an opportunity to hilariously kill our reusable red shirt, one of a nearly infinite line of possible descendants would pop into existence about 20 feet away from the corpse with all of Mycroft's memories, skills, and an increasingly long list of phobias intact. In an effort to keep track of his constantly shifting identity, he'd append a different title on his name each time this happened in remembrance of the version of him that had died. When he died by taking 3 points of damage trying to identify the dagger, for instance, he became Mycroft the Fragile. When he died by accidentally teleporting himself 20 feet underground, also while trying to identify the dagger, he was reborn as Mycroft the Entombed. At this time, I believe I was Mycroft the Unwary, the result of failing to wake up during an ambush by rogues while we were camping. We were attempting to lay siege to a castle where a cabal of wizards were kidnapping citizens from our city to perform horrifying experiments on them in an attempt to create super soldiers for a war we didn't yet know was coming. We had a fairly respectable force of mercenaries and soldiers assisting us, but there was also no backup coming, and we were reasonably sure that the cabal would be able to get reinforcements and break our siege unless we moved quickly. Problem was, they'd laid out a magical minefield that made a conventional approach unpleasant to contemplate. The solution was obvious. We had an essentially unkillable wizard and a few siege weapons. The last thing they'd expect was for the attack to be launched by shooting a naked skinny guy over the walls where he'd explode in a gory mess only to pop back up 5 minutes later and start throwing fireballs at the undefended backsides of their nigh impregnable walls. Yeah, D&D logic is kind of a reality unto itself. The plan seemed absolutely foolproof. Mycroft loaded himself into the catapult, should have used a trebuchet, the paladin lined up the shot, and then rolled an attack. While there was no way to justify him knowing that things had just gone very wrong, I always imagined that he flew off over the battlefield screaming, "Oh shit." He almost made it. If they'd moved the catapult, should have used a trebuchet, just a few feet forward, Mycroft would have splattered himself all over the ground as planned. Maybe he'd even have clipped one of the guards on the ramparts on the way in. Instead, he hit the walls just a few feet below said ramparts, much to the shock and horror of those same guards, some of whom probably got hit by little bits of wizard. Worst warning shot ever. We were playing as a bunch of mercenaries, generally of the goodish, neutral, or I'm immune to no alignment variety. If memory serves, we had 2 fighters, my ranger, a sorcerer, and a rogue. Sadly, the sorcerer and I were the best we had for medics, so there's a lot of bribing and threatening clerics after a few rough missions. We were working our way through a bandit camp, trying to rescue someone important's daughter. I don't remember who exactly, but a lot of money was involved. Also, the bandits may have been slightly in another country and wearing uniforms. Also, the camp was inside a fort. Like I said, lots of money. Also, never trust a baron. So Clanky McFighter has botched his sneak roll, and we've gone from Plan A, sneak in, slit a few throats, and sneak out, to Plan B, kill everything that moves. Plan C involves county-sized locust swarms. Escalation. Yeah, it's a thing we did. Now, the snatch and grab turned surprise massacre isn't going that great. There's a lot of them, not so many of us. There's a large group of unusually well and uniformly dressed bandits running at us screaming, and Flash McSorcerer decides to lob a fireball at them. Teach them why you don't bunch up. And he rolls a 1. There's this moment of stupefaction. The DM had a homemade critical failure table that he likes to use. We all knew about it, no surprise. He gives the sorcerer the D100 and tells him to roll. Yeah, critical fail on a critical fail. Worst possible outcome. DM, you're completely engulfed in flames. SC, shit, wait, hold on. He checks his sheets. I still have the ring. DM, which ring? Sorcerer, the one I bought when we went to fight the dragon over in that shithole desert. Our sorcerer had previously purchased a ring that made him immune to the element of fire, handy when fighting dragons. He's immune to fire. He's engulfed in flames. DM, so what are you gonna do? The sorcerer gets the most maliciously gleeful grin I have ever seen. I bellow at the top of my lungs, free hugs for everyone! And charge. Best critical failure? Too easy. It happened just a couple months ago in a session to a friend of mine. So, my buddy, let's call him Steve, is a bit of a shameless player, in the real world picking up women sense. He had recently joined our D&D game as a wizard, and for better or worse, was playing the character pretty much as he sees himself in real life. Anytime a new female NPC would show up, he was instantly trying to get down their pants. It was definitely a bit annoying, but made what eventually happened all the better. For the most part, the DM had kept him from causing too much trouble, but Steve finally rolled a successful persuasion attempt on one of 3 buxom women who sort of showed up out of nowhere offering shelter. This is, of course, right after half of our main hub town had been destroyed by all sorts of mayhem. Perfect timing, right? We all rolled our eyes, so we decided to start settling down for a long rest in one of the few untouched buildings near the docks, the 3 ladies leading the way. Steve proceeded to the back room with his new bow, and the DM asked him to make a performance roll. Guess what? Critical failure, of course. Can't remember if he just couldn't get it up or something much more embarrassing. Regardless, we all gave him so much shit for it. Not only was he unable to perform in the sack, but the DM said that he also passed out due to exhaustion. Now, to top it off, the woman turned out to be a hag that none of us had managed to notice on any passive perception checks. Steve woke up near death. While sleeping, the hag had deployed her fingernails, deeply puncturing him in multiple places. He had just enough time to shout an alarm before falling into death saving throws. Unable to finish our long rest, we reluctantly killed the 3 hags. The rest of us considered just leaving him there to rot, but he had a mage lock on a bunch of our treasure, so we kind of had to bail him out and did end up reviving him. Lo, the irony was great that day. I'd say we were about 9th level in 3.5 when we came into a round of wishes. I think I and everyone else in the group wished for a level, except the bard. The very chaotic bard wished for wild magic. The DM was taken aback. You want what? Wild motherfucking magic, the halfling responds. Like as in you want to be a wild mage? The perplexed DM asks. The smug halfling states, no, I just want all my spells treated like wild magic. A quick research break happens, and we find a wild surge table with 100 different effects for flavor. They both read over each of the results and agree it sounds fun. When we finally get back to gaming again, he wants to showcase his wild magic. He cast light on a rock, rolled, and hit a wild surge on his first try. He rolled the wild magic table, giddy as can be. Result, 0-0. DM says, dude, can I see your character sheet? Player hands it over. You guys have no idea why you are standing outside looking at a rock, but it is cold out there. Go back inside.
What happened?
The party. There is no halfling. There is no bard. There never was. What was Wild Surge result 0-0? Character blinks from existence as if they were never born. Never born? That means the character never existed. We all knew we were standing outside for a reason, but that reason was a mystery to our player characters because we instantly forgot why we had been standing outside looking at a rock. That one time, I got an Eldritch Horror imprinted on my brain. Things were just beginning to ramp up. The great evil had arisen. We were racing against the clock to find a solution before the world crumbled and the laws of reality broke down. Long story. We had just opened an ancient portal into a long-forgotten dungeon when suddenly and unexpectedly, my whole party got yanked through the portal into the starless void, an interdimensional space not unlike Pratchett's dungeon dimensions. We landed in a lightless tunnel, empty save for a shadowy figure with a toothy grin. It said nothing. it did nothing. It just floated there, grinning, while we collected our wits and tried to figure out what to do. At this point, my low wisdom wizard had a genius idea.
I cast Detect Thoughts on it.
You sure?
Yeah? Wait, why'd you use that tone?
My elven mage concentrated, expanding his mind to touch those around him.
Does he fail his save?
It doesn't have to make one. In fact, it says here that the spell abruptly ends and you're stunned for 1 round.
Oh, super intelligent elder thingy. Should have known.
Hang on. I think its special ability applies to this situation.
What special ability?
The DM pulled out 2 d6s. Make a will save. I roll. Natural 1. Fuck, what happens? You take 11 wisdom damage as its volatile mind comes into contact with yours. I have 7 wisdom base. I'm unconscious. The elven mage's eyes fly open, spinning madly, as he topples to the tunnel floor, whispering in an eldritch tongue that no mortal has ever lived to repeat. That moment was so perfect that my DM and I ran with it. How many times do you get the sanity blown out of you by touching the mind of an Eldritch Horror? Not enough, that's for sure. So, to honor the occasion, we decided that a fragment of this creature's mind was thereafter permanently imprinted on my own, sometimes providing insight beyond normal ken when I got a 19 or 20 on a knowledge check, and other times randomly inflicting wisdom damage and temporary insanity. This last part happened whenever I rolled a nat 1 on any knowledge check. The character remains in play to this day, and his actions have slowly become more evil and more chaotic as time goes on, driven by the ever-present imprint of the mind he picked up in the void. If any of the other players in my party are reading this, don't worry. Siriel is totally fine and not at all harboring an ancient evil intent on the destruction of the universe. Don't worry. Hello, my sweet little pumpkin pies. Thank you for attuning your glistening, captivating little looking balls to this video all the way to the bloody end. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for all your comments, well wishes, stories, and gripes. If you're new, welcome. May the stories heard here inspire legends of your own making. The power is in your hands. If it's your first time here, please say hello in the comments. If it's not your first time here, please say hello in the comments. Your sweet, delicious attention sustains this, my mortal coil, and I'm grateful that you're all on this journey with us. Not sure if you noticed lately, but we hit 50,000 subs. As promised for months leading up to this point, we will finally be playing some fucking D&D on Friday, March 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and whatever that is in your respective time zone, that's when we'll be doing the thing. So please tune into this channel for the live stream and super sexy multiple face reveal. As always, please sub for Nat 20s. And once again, thanks so much for being a part of all this. Truly, writing these outros for you is the highlight of my week, but your yummy little comments are the cherry on top. Much love. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.